me because you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. I say you look so fine that I really want to make you mine. 4, 5, 6, come on and get your kicks. Now you don't need the money when you look.
All right,
Yo.
what is going on? Welcome
What's up?
to another brand new episode
Yeah.
of the Opinion City Podcast. I'm King
Yeah.
Ralphie's Parmesan. We are your hosts.
Mm-hmm.
And today, when I say that it is a brand new episode, it is really a brand new episode because we have a new concept we're running here. So on the first Sunday of every month, we will be spotlighting different wrestling promotions,
right.
independent promotions throughout the area, the East Coast, wherever. Listen, if you're
wherever.
if you're in Malaysia and you have internet and you're a wrestling company, hit us up.
We want to talk to you, right?
Wherever, but we're starting close to home here, and we're going to be talking about the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, otherwise known as DOG, and we are super excited. We will be joined by a representative from the company. Jaden will be talking to us today. We're super excited about that. And what are we doing for top 5 today, Sean?
Being that we're highlighting the promotion, we're also going to be highlighting his top favorite wrestlers of the promotion.
Amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
So get ready to learn. Get ready to have new favorite indie company that you can go and see. So we are super excited. And with that, Sean, I think it is time to get this party started.
Let's do it.
Episode 114 starts right now.
Go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and as per usual, we did not come alone.
No,
we brought an official representative from DOG. Jaden, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've been really looking forward. Happy second anniversary, by the way. Congratulations!
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate
that.
Oh, awesome. All right, so let's start at the beginning here. Tell us a little bit about what is DOG Unleashed, the mission and vision of the promotion. Tell us a little bit about what you've got going on.
Well, technically, we started in 2008, but we had our first event in 2010.
Okay,
we're a former member of the National Wrestling Alliance.
Oh wow!
We were an affiliate at first, and then we were the sanctioned member of the state of New Jersey for a while.
Okay.
So we've had some history. We've been doing this again. We've had our first event on April 24th, 2010. And that was at the Ocean Sports Complex in Ocean Township, New Jersey, not Ocean City, up in North Jersey a little bit. Yeah. And that was a nice little venue. It's real hard to get venues in wrestling, especially when you're first starting out. Yeah. So they were very happy to have wrestling. Unfortunately, they wouldn't have a second event there because the town wasn't very happy about having wrestling.
Right.
Interesting.
So after the first event, we've had to find a second place to run. But that was nice. It was headlined by a 4-way elimination match to crown the first NWA DOG champion. It was Nunzio, aka Little Guido, Ricky Reyes, what was his name? Nick Gage, which was completely unusual.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Chance Prophet. Nick Gage and I go back a long way. He also goes back a while with Lawrence Zirconium. Dr. Zirconium is the promoter of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. And believe it or not, he could wrestle.
Okay.
And that was an idea he wanted to do to show that he could wrestle. So he asked if he could be part of it. So it was a four corners elimination match you eliminate till there's only one winner, and that was one with the inaugural champion Chance Prophet. Chance Prophet was well known in the NWA in those days, a two-time NWA national champion, an NWA Bahamas champion. He's held a lot of different gold. He was fought for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship multiple times, went one-on-one with Sid Vicious, been in the ring with some of the most talented people in the business. And it's such a super talent, a great guy. Go look him up if you want. Chance Prophet in his prime was something that's very special. It was one of the highlights, the best things about that NWA period. And he was the first inaugural dog champion.
Wow, that's incredible.
Very cool.
That's an incredible first champion, I would say. So,
yeah,
what inspired the start of the promotion? Like, where did it all start before it even got its wheels going?
According to Dr. Zirconium, it started because of spite.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always a good reason.
He got done dirty by another promoter, and he decided that instead of doing the work and doing everything and getting nothing out of it and getting taken advantage of, and, you know, all that hard work for nothing for somebody else just to come in and take all the credit, he was going to start off on his own and start his own promotion. He originally was trying to buy a promotion that was already existing, but something happened when there was negotiations that was going to happen to that. So he decided instead just to start a company. He came up with the dog because at the time there were no promotions using 4 letters in their name, and he wanted something that was an acronym. So he knew that W had to have W.
Yep.
Because it had to have word wrestling in it.
Yeah.
So he went through and found a bunch of different words, and he just liked the way dog sounded. It was rough, pun intended.
Yeah.
It was, it was different. It was different than anything that was out there at the time.
Sure.
So he wanted that acronym out there. So that's where he came with the acronym first, DAWG, DAWG. And then he came up with the name itself, Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. Again, knowing the W was always going to be wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
And he tried trouble promoting. He was a new promoter by himself. He's done a lot of work with other promoters and helped other people. This was his first time doing it on his own. And he asked me to help him out. Because again, I've also been around a lot with different people. Not only that, but I have charisma and personality. If you ever talk to Dr. Zirconium, he's a black hole of charisma. So I go out and do a lot of the talking for him, so people don't fall asleep or die of a coma.
Oh yeah, sure.
Well, let me tell you this right off the bat here. Now, obviously, it seems like there's a ton of history to talk about here, and being a Jersey-based promotion, my co-host is a Jersey boy.
Yes.
I am here in Pennsylvania, so. If you talk about places in Jersey, I may have no idea what you're talking about. Whereas he is in fictional Central Jersey, and he'll know all about those things.
Yes.
Yes, the Bermuda Triangle of New Jersey doesn't actually exist.
That's
right. South Jersey, and North Jersey.
Yeah. There's another hot take on Central Jersey.
There's another one. That's all right. It's okay.
Yes.
Well, we've done a lot of great things. We had a lot of great talent throughout the years. Mana, the Polynesian Warrior. Again, we said Ricky Reyes. Trying to think of some of the other wrestlers. Of course, I'm drawing a blank right now. But we've had a lot of top wrestlers throughout the years, and as part of the NWA, we've had a lot of the top NWA championships.
Right.
When we were part of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship was decided in a 9-way elimination match.
Oh.
It started off as an 8-way elimination match, but stupid controversy and people that decided to do something that wasn't the right thing decided to throw another wrestler in there last minute after the match has already started, something I don't agree with to this day. But we crowned a new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. We've had the NWA national title defended on dog events. We've had the NWA North American titles. We had the NWA World's Junior Heavyweight Championship with 2 different champions. And they were working on getting all the board championships, all the big championships in the NWA at the time. And if they were still NWA, I'm sure they would have done it. The hardest being obviously the NWA World Tag Team Championships, because that's 2 people you have to bring in. But they were working on it. The NWA Women's Championship was scheduled, but it didn't ever actually happen in a dog event. Unfortunately, she got pulled off to do another event in Texas.
Wow.
So the NWA pulled her off at the time. That would have been a lot of fun to see the NWA World Women's Championship defended. Back in that day, that belt was as bigger than 3 of that big round eagle you have behind you. It weighed
Yeah.
64.5 pounds of leather
Oh
and gold.
boy. Good Lord. Yeah, man, you got to be working out in the gym every day just to carry that thing around with you.
Right.
Yes, the
Lord.
champion at the time was Casey Carlisle, who's one of my absolute favorite people.
Mhm.
I wish she still wrestled. She retired recently, but she was one of my
Okay.
absolute favorites. Such a sweetheart, nasty in the ring, just absolutely nasty.
Mhm.
Made Sensational Sherry look like an angel, but but outside the ring, she was just a wonderful person, and I will always talk proudly and amazingly about how just wonderful she was inside the ring and outside the ring. Just don't piss her off.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Indeed. Wow.
But a lot have happened in the dog too. We've had the dog championship when it was part of the NWA was defended in 23 different NWA promotions in 13 different states.
Wow.
Jeez.
Was
That's
part of the
incredible.
NWA big event they had at the Ohio State Fair where Scrap Iron and Pierce was defending, and Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner was there, and Abyss and Shark Boy and a lot of other top talent.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was a lot of fun with the dog. We worked really well with the different members of the NWA. We were featured on television. The dog championship was featured on television in New England, in Georgia, in West Virginia, in regular Virginia, all over, the different parts of the NWA. At big events, the dog championship was defended. Chance Prophet was definitely a traveling champion, and so was the person that took the championship away from him, Damian Wayne.
Okay.
Damian Wayne, he was actually, if you watch that show that was on Stars about wrestling, I think it's called
Heels.
Heels, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Heels.
Yes.
He was a stunt guy for that.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Impressive.
Yeah, he was.
Heck yeah.
He was a stunt guy for Heels, and they do a lot of the wrestling scenes.
Mhm.
And he was an amazing wrestler. He was robbed of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I'm just going to say right now, he was supposed to be champion, and he was robbed. Controversy took it from him. But he was an amazing racer. Wrestled for Ring of Honor, a lot of times was an extra in the WWE, WWF at the time.
Yeah.
Just a really, really good, amazing guy. And he also defended it everywhere that he could, multiple states, multiple times, different champions versus champions matches and everything to try to elevate himself because he really wanted to be the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And he used that dog championship as a highlight, as a stepping stone to get himself multiple opportunities at that championship.
Absolutely.
Wow. All right. So speaking about, dog as a whole here, and let's talk a little bit about the actual running of the promotion. So we were wondering, how does dog attract and recruit like your wrestlers and your referees and other performers? How as a promotion, how do you guys go about that?
A lot of it's people messaging Dr. Zirconium, but also a lot of it's people that I know personally that I would suggest. Like I worked events with Chance Prophet. I've seen Damian Wayne in a match that I just absolutely thought he was the most amazing thing. I used to manage a wrestler who's another former champion called Dirty Money. And Dirty Money was amazing. And the rest, he passed away just recently last year.
Cool.
But he was so absolutely amazing. Such a talented professional, a former Ohio Valley wrestling superstar, former WWE developmental guy, amazing inside that ring. And I managed him, so I suggested to bring him in. Other wrestlers like I've known over the years we've brought in, and I've lost a lot of friends because of it, because there's some wrestlers that, while I like them as people, they weren't what dog was about. So they weren't working dog events because they weren't up to what the dog, what way want to put out there.
Right.
Dog has a ton of really good, talented professional wrestlers, and we also have this one wrestler called Daredevil Dave Dahl.
That's great. That's great. So we also wanted to know, how do you guys ensure engaging in high quality matches? Do you focus on the more long competitive matches or more shorter, more storyline driven bouts?
The main thing I know doctors are coming, and I agree with him on this one, care about is they don't care if you do 10,000 high spots or whatever. All that cares about the dog is the audience participation. If they're sitting on their hands, not making a sound, then that's not a match Dr. Zirconium wants to have in a dog ring.
Sure.
He wants the fans yelling and screaming and cursing in some cases. He wants them emotionally invested into their action that's going on in the wrestling ring. So he makes sure that the wrestlers know that the fans, they're output, their sound, their vocalization, their cheering or booing or whatever it needs to be. That is the thing that they need to be engaged. They need to feel like they are watching something and emotionally and psychologically and just feel that wrestling match. So again, the biggest spots and all those high flying moves don't mean anything in dog. What matters is telling the story and getting those people involved, and that's why dog is different. Other wrestling promotions run shows. Dangerous Adrenaline and Wrestling Gladiators runs events, and if you want to know the difference, come to a dog event and we'll show you the difference.
Absolutely.
Now that's something that sets independent wrestling apart from your bigger companies, because with independent wrestling, you're right there and you're in the action, and the wrestlers are right there, and good promotions really make you feel like you're a part of the whole thing. And I think that's where certain indie promotions will succeed over others, because they take that very seriously.
Yes, and that's something that we take very seriously in Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. We want to make sure that you feel the matches, not just the pain that the wrestlers are going through, but the emotion and just that energy. The energy is extremely important for dog. If it's not there, then a lot of times those wrestlers don't end up coming back. And some wrestlers don't understand that. Some wrestlers just never get it. They think the most important thing is every single high spot you can do. And then the dog fans, they're not traditional wrestling fans. They're not your independent wrestling smart marks. They are families that come to wrestling to want to have a good time. They want to be entertained, and they want to feel like their voice matters into the company.
Sure.
And that who they're cheering, they're giving them, a lot of the fans will cheer for a baby face, and they feel like they're giving them that energy to continue. They buy into it. They suspend their disbelief. And that's what makes dog separate.
Oh.
That's why we run events, not shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so speaking a little bit about running events and things like that, talk a little bit about your philosophy with storylines and things like that, because you do see a lot of the indie promotions, and I'm not naming any names, but you do see a lot of indie promotions where every show you go to, it's just a bunch of guys wrestling each other for no reason. So talk a little bit about storyline progression and how that kind of works in dog.
Dog believes in the KISS theory: keep it simple, stupid. We're not on TV.
Yes,
we're not on TV, and we know that we wrestle in different venues, so often things that happen in one don't necessarily translate to the things that happen to another, because not the same crowd's there. So they keep it very simple so that the fans can follow along, so they could just pick it up, even if they didn't check out our YouTube page, which, by the way, check out our YouTube page. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload of Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators action.
That's right.
Let's say they don't check out our YouTube page, or they're not there for the last event, or it's the first time coming. They can immediately check what that storyline is. Another thing that's really important for Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators is our championships. Most people think of belts as props, and that's why they don't mean anything. I can talk about that right now in two major promotions. There's so many titles in their props, and they don't mean anything. Dog doesn't have titles.
Absolutely.
Dog doesn't have titles or belts. We have championships. And the dog championship, or the World Wrestling Grand Prix championship, or any of the championships that we bring in there, each one of them has to mean something, or it doesn't need to be there. So if you come to a dog event and there's 1, 2, 3, or 4 championship matches, you know that each match has an opponent that means something for that belt. It's meant to elevate the wrestler holding it. It's meant to elevate the belt itself. A good professional wrestling company, the championships that are part of your company are part of your roster.
Right.
They're the most important members of your roster, because they're never going to leave you unless somebody steals the belts.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So they're never going to leave you. So that way, when you have a dog championship match on there, that it's a match that means something. And I think that's another thing that sets us apart. It's not there's promotions out there that change the belt every single show, and they don't understand that that's not good for your championship. We do tend to have longer range champions, but we never let it get boring. It always seems to be right about the time that it just needs to change. Something happens. And but the champions that have something mean something to the fans. Like our current champion is Vinny the Fixer. He just recently turned heel.
Yeah.
But Vinny the Fixer was a hated baby. It was a loved baby face for the longest time. Absolutely
Right.
loved, and just recently turned heel by using a pair of breast knucks to win the belt over former champion Breaker Morant.
Wow.
Oh wow.
And-
Okay.
Now Breaker's loved by the dog fans. He is adored.
Yeah.
You know, and so when he ended Breaker's dog championship, and then it was Breaker's last match at Dog, and he came out victorious, the fans they felt that it hurt them, and now they were cheering for Vinny so long, and now he's doing all these underhanded things, and it's like your best friend just turns your back on you, and that's what it's, you know, that's why the championship means something too, because he went out of his way to cheat to make sure he leaves at the time it was the Chamberlain Student Center at Rowan University. Yeah, he made sure he left as the champion, and people feel that. And then he defends. He's got a defense coming up in Mawa. He's got a defense coming up in other events we have for ourselves, and he's out there trying to take on the best challengers he can.
Right.
As long as he doesn't wrestle Daredevil Dave Dahl, he's probably going to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he wants to wrestle the best challengers he can to elevate himself and elevate the dog championship. And he's just starting, but he won that in April 24th, and he's already had 6 defenses.
Wow.
Jeez.
And he's got at least 3 coming up. So he's got more work, and we're working on more of that too, but he's got at least 3 coming up.
Yeah, that's
more work
that
indeed.
Yeah, and you know, that's important to have your title out there being shown in different places, and that also again speaks to your importance that you put on these championships, and you know how your champion is out there trying to face the best, and that does say a lot about how not only he views the championship, but in turn how Dog views the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. You're not going to see the championship disrespected. If it is, then Dr. Zirconium is probably going to take a baseball bat and beat the person with an inch of the light.
Oh God!
Oh boy!
But,
watch out!
Yeah,
watch out!
That's that Jersey Justice there.
Yeah.
So what's sort of the vibe or the atmosphere that Dog aims to create at those live events?
We're old school professional wrestling with new school action and athletics.
Okay.
So you will see the good moves, the hot moves, but they're not always just thrown out there, move after move after move after move after move. As living in Jersey, you know that we've had a lot of rain recently, and there's been a lot of floods.
Oh yeah.
The reason it's flooding is that rain's so hard that rain can't absorb into the ground, so it overflows and destroys everything in its path. That's the same way that professional wrestling is. If you do spot after spot after spot after spot, it never gets a chance to absorb, and everything just gets lost. It just flows right away. So you want a nice, good spot, but then it needs to slow down so that people have a chance to digest it and think about it. And that's why dog spots in Dog mean something.
Yeah.
And the things that get over are sometimes the most simplistic things. We had a wrestler called Patch. Patch was absolutely insane. He's a mixture of Jimmy the Boogie Woogie and Valiant and a T-Rex.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
But he's old school. He was just so dastardly heel. It's hard to believe he was one of the most over baby faces in the company.
Wow.
He was so despised in professional wrestling. He was so good at getting the reaction. He caused riots.
He would cause riots.
Yeah, he's had. There was one time a wrestler's mother, while he was beating up on that wrestler, who she was working actually making empanadas in the back, grabbed the big steak knife or big butcher knife or whatever it was, and she was going out there because her son was getting beat pillar to post, going into the ring to stab Patch.
Jesus!
Wow.
He might not be able to believe. He may not make everybody believe. Or hold on, how's it go? Not everybody believes professional wrestling is real, but they'll definitely believe he's real.
Right.
And they did. That said, though, he went in completely insane and started giving Santa Claus lap dances and dancing around the ring to Fireball. And just all the interest in dancing with people around the crowd. So he completely turned 360 and it became the most beloved figure. He's Vinny the Fixer's former tag team partner. And I forget my point where I was going with this.
Well,
But
it was a good story because you got to Santa Claus and lap dances. So
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
We're
Santa
doing
and
good.
Mrs. Claus. I forgot. Mrs. Claus was there too. So he gave both of them lap dances.
boy,
Even better.
wow,
Yes.
that's
He was trying to get
a
a
nightmare before Christmas.
he was trying to get a Christmas package from Santa.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So it's interesting you bring up the idea of this old school wrestling because let's think about this right now. So we had SummerSlam was on last night.
Yep.
So
Yes.
think about the entire card of SummerSlam and think about the match with Gunther and CM Punk. That was an old school style wrestling match. And if you think about that in comparison to the other matches, it feels completely different. And I think that that's a feeling that sometimes is missing in the world of professional wrestling. You know, everybody tries to figure out like, you know, how do we get fans engaged and how do we draw their attention and how do we make them, you know, feel. You look at Gunther beating down CM Punk last night and they had that crowd in the palm of their hand. They were so you know, they had that emotional connection with CM Punk as he's getting chop after chop. And it's almost like they're getting the chops with him. So that old school mentality sometimes is really missing in the world of wrestling right now.
Right.
I agree. A lot of the boys, they're more worried about popping the guys in the back or putting themselves over or trying to get that next viral moment instead of actually drawing money. You know, there's a reason there's 7,211 wrestling promotions and probably like 3 actually are profitable.
Right.
And one of which is the WWE. So that's why in old school wrestling, you had to get people to get out of their house, drive, buy a ticket, and then sit down in a smoke-filled arena and sit there and yell and cheer for their favorite wrestler and boo their most hated wrestler and pay money to do so. And in some cases, they had to do the same wrestlers every single week in the same building, and they still had to draw that crowd. If wrestlers had to rely nowadays on drawing money, there would be way less wrestlers in professional wrestling, and way less companies too.
And this was a conversation that came up recently when you know, discussing Hulk Hogan and his place in like the hierarchy of wrestling. And you know, there was this talk that, you know, when you talk about the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, you know, everybody pretty much agrees that he's on it. But why is he so much better than everyone else? Because he drew money. People have to get that understanding that yes, there's all these different things that you need to do, but drawing money is the bottom line. That's what everybody's there for.
He is one of the greatest workers in the business, and a lot of people are going to sit there and they just had a heart attack. Hear me say that. But see, the Dave Meltzer group used the word worker wrong. Worker is an old school Carney term, meaning separating a mark from his money.
Right.
Wow.
There were very few people in his business who separated people from their money more than Hulk Hogan. Whether it was his time in the AWA, whether it was time in the WWF, whether it was time in the WCW, or any other thing that he's able to do, he's able to make money because he knows how to make money. Yes, there's a lot of things that people don't like about Hulk Hogan, and you have the right to dislike him for those things.
Sure.
But when it comes for his impact in the business, this business would have never gotten to the heights that it was if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. And people say, oh, but what about the Attitude Era? I don't think the Attitude Era would have helped, because while a lot of people credit things like Stone Cold Steve Austin, people realize that when Hulk Hogan turned to join the NWO, that was the true epicenter of the Attitude Era, and that's what started wrestling into getting to what it is. So the Attitude Era wouldn't have been as big. There wouldn't have been him jumping to WCW to start the whole reason. We'd probably still have really bad gimmicks like Duke the Dumpster Droese and Doink the Clown, even though I did kind of like Doink the first time when he was evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they would have had, we still would have had that cartoony image of what pro wrestling is instead of sports entertainment, I should say, instead of pro wrestling. And a lot of the problem is a lot of the wrestlers grew up on sports entertainment, and that's why wrestling is so bad nowadays. It's just like, I grew up on the original Star Wars. That's my Star Wars.
Yes.
I could appreciate the Clone Wars, but I don't think they were as good as the original Star Wars, and if it wasn't for the Clone Wars movie and TV show, they wouldn't have been as elevated, I think, in my opinion. But that's some people, that was their Star Wars.
Right.
That's what they love and they grew up on. So that's the end all be all. So that's the Star Wars they want to see. Old school guys like me, they have a different version of Star Wars.
Right.
And then people, unfortunately, growing up on the Disney era, it's not all going to be the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian and Rogue One. It's going to be the sequels and all the other stuff that's been associated, and that's going to be their Star Wars. That's going to be the image of their Star Wars. And when they become producers and stuff like that, that's what they're going to start pushing out there, because that's what they saw. That's the problem right now with a lot of the independent professional wrestlers, is they grew up on the Attitude Era, but a lot of them also grew up on the sports entertainment.
Right.
And the goofiness and there's benefits to sports entertainment, but the goofiness and the stupid gimmicks and the stupid faces and the gesticulating and the pointing and the stupid facial expressions and everything else that's over exaggerated in the sports entertainment genre is a lot what wrestlers do nowadays. Even though they all say this is wrestling, they're the ones grew up on things like the Ultimate Warrior and the Legion of Doom instead of the Road Warriors and that type of stuff. They were not growing up on professional wrestling. They were growing up on sports entertainment, and it shows.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it's interesting that you call Hulk Hogan the greatest worker, because I think he was working everyone, because I feel like, and this is the difference between, again, wrestling and sports entertainment, you know, to play the role of Hulk Hogan, I feel like he was really turning things down, because if you watch him in his New Japan matches, I mean, the guy could wrestle. The guy could.
Oh, yeah, he was doing everything.
And he did a lot more there than he did anywhere else. But again, that's what was called for there. What was called for here was 5 moves, the pin, the pose, you know, get the kids to buy the shirt, and, you know, and he did that great as well, but that's all he really had to do here.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just it. If you get people invested in you, if you get people to buy you, then you could sell them anything. You have to be your own pimp and your own whore in professional wrestling. So the only thing that you sell besides moves, but the only thing you really need to sell is yourself. And once you learn that, then that's the secret to being successful in pro wrestling, is you need to sell yourself.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So now, how do you sort of keep your audience engaged to sort of foster that sense of community within the Dog Pro Wrestling promotion?
We don't generally covet these typical wrestling fans that go to a lot of the wrestling events. We covet more like the families and the people that enjoy professional wrestling. Now, a lot of the ones who do end up coming to Dog end up enjoying themselves and becoming Dog fans anyway, despite their predication to all the things that, you know, they want to see. But we just try to provide really good professional wrestling with simple stories that everybody can follow, with action that's modernized, but done in a way that makes more sense and a way that allows fans to absorb what they see. It's not, if it was a successful formula, everybody would be doing it right now. And hopefully, you know, everybody will be caught, not everybody, but there's never a first. Everybody always wants to be, that's one of the problems with professional wrestling. Everybody wants to be the second or the third coming of something that's already been out there. Right. I like Dog because we're just trying to be the first Dog. And I think that genuine feeling of we're just trying to be ourselves and not be the next ECW or the next TNA or the next AEW or the next WWE or whatever you want out there. We're just trying to be South Jersey's #1 and soon to be New Jersey's #1 wrestling promotion.
That's right.
And yeah, we're just trying to be that. We're not trying to be anything more than that. And that's the big deal, is we don't like, we have a World Wrestling Grand Prix championship. We're a member of the World Wrestling Grand Prix. So we sanction the World Wrestling Grand Prix as our traveling champion. But we don't call we don't call the dog belt a world title. Because you know why? Yes, it's been defended in quite a few states, but it's mostly defended in southern New Jersey and central that doesn't exist.
Sure.
I want to do that for you. Yeah. But we mostly defended in Jersey. Jersey isn't the world. A lot of people from Jersey think it is. But Jersey isn't the world.
It's not.
Yes.
Well, so, yeah, that would be insane if it was.
Yes. And while the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship does travel, has been defended in Mexico, defending all over this country.
Awesome.
you know, everybody wants to be, oh, we have a world heavyweight title. You know what happens if everybody has a world heavyweight title? Nobody has a world heavyweight title.
Right.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I right now, I think there is only one world heavyweight title, and I hate to say it, but it's actually maybe two, but it's NWA and it's TNA.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
WWE has two world titles. If you have two world titles, you don't have any. The AEW sanctions two world titles, and then they also have the New Japan title they call a world title. If it's a world title, that means you're at the top of the line. That's why boxing, I love boxing, always will be a fan of the sweet science. Boxing has what, 7 world titles?
Yeah.
And nobody has a clue about them unless it's a unified champion, like the one that holds all 7.
Right. Right.
You know, and there's so many different weight divisions too, and then other belts that come up to it. None of them really mean much. The only thing that matters now is the boxers. But back in the day, the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship was the cream of the crop, the top of any promotion, champions, wrestling, boxing, any other thing. So they only have one World Championship back then, or even, you know, they limited it to what there was. And that champion was the man. It was the ultimate person, whether in any weight division it was. You don't get that nowadays. Every promotion has multiple world titles, and how can that be? The world title is supposed to be the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Too sweet to be sour, the tower of power. Sorry.
Yep.
I like it.
Yes. He eats T-bone steaks and bitless barbed plates and sweeter than German chocolate cake. But there's only one peak of a mountain. I don't think that any mountains have 2 peaks to them.
Right.
So if you want to get to the absolute peak, that's the world heavyweight title. Everything else is just stepping stones of the way to do so. So if you have 2 world titles, you don't have a peak of the mountain, you just have valleys.
Sure.
Well, and this was the conversation with John Cena winning his 17th championship, because it does not mean anything near as much as Ric Flair winning 16 titles, because he won 16 legitimate world titles. The man went all over the world, defended. John Cena's won 17 WWE titles, and that people see that as the same thing, and it really isn't.
Right.
Well, the WWE is the major league of professional wrestling.
Sure.
When you think of pro wrestling, you do think of WWE, or in my day, WWF, and in some old days, WWWF.
Yeah.
But I remember the NWA World Heavyweight Championship being the belt. You know, and that's the problem right now, is there is 2 major promotions. One of them is actually trying to do things to be a major league, and another one's a toy, a play thing for a guy who wants to collect all his action figures and put them inside the ring and just do whatever.
That is a hot take, but a rather truthful hot take, I think.
Yeah. It's Brewster's Millions, except for instead of collecting a guy off the streets, he's collecting all the different wrestlers, and that's the problem right now. Is if every company was looking to elevate the sport of professional wrestling and not just worry about tearing it down and chewing on everybody else and doing things that aren't necessarily good for the overall business just because it pops a few people, that the wrestling would be a lot stronger and bigger right now, and everybody would be drawing bigger crowds. Here's the thing, WWE's hot right now, but imagine how much hotter wrestling would be if AEW was really putting out a product that's not just for a bunch of people who think it's great, but for people who don't necessarily watch wrestling, could sit down and not be embarrassed about. You know, the casual fan, the part-time fan, the former fan, they're the ones you have to get to really appreciate it. And AEW has a lot of loyalists, and that's who watches the program. They generally have around the same amount of people that watch it now, and they're the people that are going to watch it no matter if he puts 2 monkeys throwing crap at each other in the middle of the ring. They'll still watch it and say it's the greatest 5 spots they've ever seen. 5 stars. But it's if he was putting out something that elevated the sport and made WWE go even harder and bigger and better to try to compete against them. And it was really a competition of people trying to outdo each other, not by signing the biggest, whatever free agent happens to jump over to one or the other, but actually putting out a product that everybody, or the vast majority of people, sit there and love and want to see. And again, elevates everything in the business.
Mhm.
then everybody would be doing so much better right now. WWE would be drawing probably triple the numbers, and AEW would definitely be drawing triple, probably even quintuple the numbers they're doing right now.
Absolutely, sure.
I feel like one of the big things with AEW, and I saw a graphic the other day about all some of the people, like a handful of the people that went from WWE to AEW, but then you think about the people that have come over from AEW, and I get the feeling that AEW knows how to put people on TV. WWE knows how to make people superstars.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yes.
you watch like you look at the Fanatics Fest in New York City.
Yeah.
Now, those prices to get autographs and pictures are astronomical, but consistently WWE are the superstars that always sell out. When you
Right.
have other
Right.
huge names in sports, Eli Manning and all these people, and they're not selling out, but the WWE superstars are, and there's a reason for that, because they know
Right.
how to make
Right.
people
Mhm.
into a superstar. And I think if AEW could figure out that that formula in their world, things would be a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another thing that I'm going to push out and call people out for. I know people in the business shitting on WWE. And I mean in the business, I mean on the very low levels, the independents, the
Right,
local
right.
guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I know guys, fans that shitting on the WWE, and they said, "Oh, this is sucks, and it's the evil empire." Yet I see them posting pictures in SummerSlam right now.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That is definitely a thing. There is
Absolutely a thing.
a lot of fans that are on both sides of it like that, wrestlers alike. That is a big thing. So along those lines, let's kind of bring it back to Dog here and talk about maybe what are some of the challenges in being an independent promotion.
All right. First of all, you have to deal with getting a building.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with a lot of that, especially in the Jersey area, is you have to deal with the sins of others that have nothing to do with you.
Right.
I go
right.
out and try to help Dr. Zirconium find buildings. And I have places that won't rent because of Chris Benoit. I have people that won't rent
Oh.
because of Dennis Carluzzo and Larry
Mm.
Sharp and Doc Diamond, a lot of the original promoters out there who
Right.
left a bad taste in their mouth. I have people that won't promote, let's run the building because of the attitude error.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
I have people that won't let them write because they all of a sudden they see a highlight on TikTok of some ultra violent garbage promotion doing the
Mm.
bullshit and doing barbed wire and light tubes. And there was a guy just recently, I think this was past week, got his head split open when a light tube went out into the crowd and gave him like what looked like 25 stitches, and he was a puddle of blood.
Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right now is people are selfish and want to put that out there. And normally I used to be like, people do their own. But as I really going to realize that stuff hurts anybody who's trying to actually promote professional wrestling.
Right.
And they screw over buildings and they damage buildings and they leave glass. There was another local promoter, absolute carny piece of garbage. And he would leave beer bottles in the building and damage the building. And he tried to promote buildings that I was working with and Dog was working with. And Dr. Zirconium just said, "Hey, look, call these buildings and ask about that promoter." And they had nothing nice to say about him. And that's a Carney thing. It's an old school thing in business. And there's a Carney rule and there's an old school rule. Old school is you don't promote somebody else's building without the permission. If they're running a building, that's their building. You don't run it. You find another one in the town if you want to run against them in the same town. Technically, you shouldn't even do that, but people do it all the time. But you don't generally run out of the building. And it's also bad business because if so many people run out of the same building, then the building gets burnt out and fans might come to something once and then come to something that's completely different and then never go to wrestling again.
Right.
And there's only so much money to spend. And if you're in an area and you're trying to draw those same fans in that area to your building and you run a promotion there, a different promotion there every week, it's just going to be where nobody's making money. But also it's a douchebag thing to do. So you just don't run somebody else's promotion. It's an old school rule. Carnies, on the other hand, will do anything they can because fuck anything else. And if they screw up the building, sorry about the cursing.
It's all good. We have a rule on this show. as long as you don't curse as much as Danny Cage, you're okay.
Okay.
So
I don't know if that's
our
humanly
rule.
possible without just dropping curses without saying anything in between. But
Yeah,
and I love Danny, but
he's
that's also
he's a great
statement.
guy, but when he gets fired up, forget it.
He gets
Like,
fired up.
Yeah,
There's
and I
no holding
understand
back.
that. I get fired up too. That things slip out like that. But they don't care about screwing up anything else for themselves than anybody else. They care about just what they do. And once they screw out somebody else, they'll find somebody else's building. They don't even build their own buildings. They usually wait till somebody's successful in a building, then try to get
Right.
into that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, well, they're successful. I could just put a show there and I'll be successful.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
the
right.
problem too, because
Yeah.
somebody might come see that who might actually like, let's say, a dog event, and they see something that's garbage, and then they're like, well, I'm never going to another wrestling event. So not only did everybody around as the wrestlers lose money, and wrestling companies lose money, because now there's people that aren't there to buy tickets and to buy concessions and to buy merchandise and
Right.
to support the wrestlers and share their stuff. It hurts everybody when people do that.
Yeah.
Is the only reason I don't want New Jersey to be a regulated state again is because the last time it was a regulated state, it was so corrupt that it didn't matter anyway. If you knew how to do it, you screwed the system, you're still able to do stuff. So that's why
Right.
there were so many corrupt promoters back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So let's talk more personally about you.
Ooh.
Okay.
Step away from dog for a second. So tell us how you yourself got into pro wrestling.
I've been a wrestling fan since I was probably 3 years old, maybe younger.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. My brother and my uncle used to bring me to wrestling events. My brother brought me to NWA. My uncle brought me to WWF, and I went to different
Gotcha.
kinds of wrestling in the area. My brother was first because I knew the NWA existed before I knew the WWF existed.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go to different wrestling events, and I loved it. And then my brother started bringing me to independent wrestling. Went to Dennis Carluzzo shows and Larry Sharp shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there for the very first WWWA and Dino Sana. A lot of insider guys are sitting there chuckling right now in the business. But I was there for his first event.
Wow.
We went to all kinds of different wrestling scenes, all these wrestlers, and I got to talk to them, and I started reporting it on my school newspaper, professional wrestling, doing
Wow.
interviews
Nice.
That's really cool.
with different wrestlers like Chris Candido and all different kinds of wrestlers. And I have an interview in my school newspaper, and they'd publish it. And it was always in the kind of in the middle, but it was the one that everybody always talked about. They come up to me like, "Oh, I read your wrestling thing."
Nice.
In my day, until the Attitude Era came, there was a lot of closet wrestling fans.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't really admit they liked wrestling, but a lot of them did.
Sure.
But they would all read my articles and like, "Oh, that's so cool." You know, I read about this wrestler. And next thing you know, some of these wrestlers started becoming into the big time. I started training when I was 17 years old. I started training down in Maryland with three of my friends. We'd go down to Maryland and train under a guy called Lucifer, and he had a partner named Carnage. They were the promoters. I forget the promotion name. It's a promotion down in Maryland, but we started training down there, and then we had a couple matches, and then I started training at the CZW Wrestling School.
Oh, nice.
When it first opened in Sewell, New Jersey, back before it was anything with what you recognize CZW is.
Yeah.
It was more of a wrestling promotion when it initially started. Ironically, the guy I said who I like a lot and have a lot to say positive about was Nick Gage. Him and his brother Justice Payne and a couple others came in, and that kind of changed the style of what CZW was initially.
Right.
But we had a lot of good wrestling trainers there. Jose Rivera Jr., son of Jose Rivera, WWF wrestler and Puerto Rican wrestler.
Mhm.
A guy who was also really important to me was East LA. His name was Angel. He was a tag team called East LA, and they were
Okay.
Puerto Ricans pretending to be Mexicans
Okay.
Please.
because that's professional wrestling for you.
Right.
especially in those
Right.
days.
Sure.
And he was really good. And then Reckless Youth was there, and I learned a lot from him and Reverend John Dahmer. So they were the original people who were like training around in that school. So there was a plethora of different people to learn from and different moves from. And it was really great time because back then it was fun. And then I wrestled for a while, blew out my knee, took a little time off for my knee to recover because I had major reconstructive knee surgery. I have 6 titanium screws in the right knee holding it together.
Jeez.
And then I started coming back, and then I broke my neck.
Oh.
So that ended my professional wrestling career, but I decided to become a manager.
Right.
And I managed a bunch of wrestlers, including a tag team called One in a Million, the Sensational One and the Divine One. Managed Dirty Money, managed Patch, Patch and I almost caused a riot in a church one time.
Oh, that's fun.
3/4 of the audience was Puerto Rican, and we were wrestling against a guy called the Puerto Rican Bad Boy Danny Pagan. And Patch was good at getting heat anyway, but with him and I together was really bad. And we had pretty much every Puerto Rican ready to fight us, including this absolutely gorgeous, like 6'6" Amazonian Puerto Rican woman. I would have loved to climb that mountain. She was so stunning, like an absolute supermodel, and tall and well built, and she was a brick shit house with all the bricks in the right places. And I kept calling her Mamacita, saying she wants to be with a real man like me, and she's swinging at me full force, trying to hit me, while the security guard, who was about $1.15, is doing everything in his power to stop her from killing me. And I'm sitting there taunting her the entire time. It was so much fun.
Wow, that's incredible.
I got another fun story. We were working this one promoter, piece of scum bag, Doc Diamond. But working for his promotion, and we were at a Ku Klux Klan biker bar.
Oh my God! Oh no! Oh no!
Bam Bam Bigelow was on the card. Chris Candido, Mana the Polynesian Warrior, Danny Doring. I remember there was some other people. There's some name value there, and I managed Dirty Money on that card, and I managed the Sensational one. First thing they had me come out there is they wanted to set up this thing where they wanted to have a women's match between Cindy Rogers, who was just starting to make a name for herself, and Mercedes Martinez, who was also just starting to make a name for herself. So Cindy was in the crowd, and I sat there, and I'm doing my heel thing, and I go and like, look, there's women wrestler Cindy Rogers. Women wrestlers women don't belong in professional wrestling. They only belong on two places, on their knees and on their back. And I had a girlfriend at the time. This is, they tell me to just completely say everything to just absolutely rip, make it so when she hits me, people go crazy. And I had a girlfriend at the time who was singing the national anthem. And when I went to go, she was 19 at the time, went to go get her a drink because we was at a bar. And I wanted to make sure they would serve her. And it wasn't getting her anything alcoholic. I was just trying to get her something because it was hot out there and making sure she was taken care of. And they would not serve me.
Oh,
the women in that bar would not serve me. They were trying to take my girlfriend away at the time.
Oh boy!
They were trying to say, honey, you don't need to be with a guy like that. They completely bought into everything, right?
Oh boy!
Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
Wow.
So then later in the card, again, this is a Ku Klux Klan biker bar with swastikas and rebel flags and the whole everything you expect to see in a biker bar like that. And I'm managing an African American gentleman named Dirty Money. Wrestling a guy who was called Skinhead Ivan. Sometimes he wrestled with Crazy Ivan, but this time he would call him Skinhead Ivan. The promoter goes up to me as we're out the entrance. He goes, "Ivan's the face. Make them hate you." Well, they already did, but I was making sure they were really ready to hate me. So I get in the ring with a black man named Dirty Money, and I sit there and say, "You're just jealous because your women would rather be with a couple of African American gentlemen like me and Dirty Money." And I started calling them. Crackers and honkies and just everything possible. And they're booing and throwing cans at us and going out.
I'm sure.
And then somebody yells out, "What part of Africa are you from?" And I said, "South Africa."
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh boy. There you go.
And then here comes Skinhead Ivan doing the full-on Elon Musk Nazi salute.
Oh no.
And coming down from, whatever, doing the whole German stormtrooper Nazi gimmick. And that place exploded like he was Hulk Hogan.
Jesus.
Wow.
And everything they did, everything that this guy did in that biker bar, they popped for everything, a headlock, a punch, anything that he did. And we had that crowd as we're walking back, they're throwing garbage at us. We're walking back to the locker room, beer bottles, everything imaginable. And we were so happy at that. We had that crowd eating out of the palm of our hands.
Oh, that's great.
There was another event. Somehow myself and Sensational One got booked on one of those hardcore ultraviolet events.
Right.
And we were the only match on the card that was not ultraviolet. We were first. And my gimmick was I had to shit talk all the thing about ultraviolet wrestling, which was easy because I believed everything I was saying.
Yeah.
And these fans were so angry that we waited out. We were in the bar still where the event was, and the wrestler I was with, he was singing karaoke and he was doing shots, and we were just hanging out.
Right.
We didn't know that there was about 15 fans waiting for us outside the building, ready to fight us.
Oh, boy.
No.
We're inside. Nobody said anything to us. There's these fans waiting to fight us. We found out later because one of those fans ended up becoming a professional wrestler and told us the story how they were waiting for us to get outside because they were all ready to beat us up. Because I basically called them virgins and never touched a boob before. The reason they like this stuff is because they never actually seen a real woman. They can't even get an inflatable woman. Everything I said about them, plus all the things I said about ultraviolent wrestling, and they were so. I mean, it must have hurt their feelings because it was true, but.
Jeez. Well, yeah. Oh my, that's
losers. Their own parents didn't love them.
Sure.
All
those good things.
They had to put a stake on their neck just to get their dog to play with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, that aside, let's talk about what's in the future for Dog. So maybe what are some short-term goals as a company you guys have? Maybe some long-term goals.
I know the long-term goal is to get our own building.
Oh, nice.
We've been renting other places, and unfortunately, we lost some buildings because of we ran the Max Fit Sports Center. What a wonderful place to run, right here in Glassboro, New Jersey, where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So nice, such a beautiful venue, large. Everything was perfect. But the owners of the building sold it to the out from under the gym that we were renting it from. And now this looks like a disaster area. It's a storage area for when people are doing, like, this construction company is doing construction, and they need to store things like destroyed buildings and stuff until they're able to dispose of them. That's what it is. And it's such a shame because it was such an amazing looking venue.
Right.
And it was a lot of fun, and the crowd was really building up well. We were doing pretty regularly. We were running there quarterly and really getting good crowds, and fans were loving it and were buying into what we were doing. So I'd rather get to the point where I can get a building that's ours.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to help Dr. Zirconium looking to do. I've been going around trying to find something. It's real hard because everybody if you live in the Northeast, anybody who watching this not from the Northeast, everything is like 5 times more expensive than, say, down south.
Yeah.
And that's probably in some cases an understatement. And then there's so many rules. Like in New Jersey, we got something that's only ever seems to be enforced when it's convenient. We have something called the 9/11 rule, where because of 9/11, they only allow somebody to have in a building. So you only allow 2 people for every parking spot that you have. You could fit 5 people in a car, but you're only allowed 2 people for every parking spot that you have.
Wow.
So a lot of buildings don't like you to. You can't fill these buildings out. The building might hold 300, but the parking lot doesn't, so you can't do so.
That's crazy.
Jeez. That's wow.
And there's a lot of things. Some towns don't want professional wrestling. Some towns have high taxes. Some towns have corrupt politicians and corrupt fire departments. I can go on those ones if you ever want to. But so you have to find something that's just perfect and then build it up to what you need. So it also means you have to have a wrestling school. The difference is, and Dr. Zirconium agrees with me, we're not renting it out to anybody else.
Right.
So we have to find ways to be able to be profitable inside that building. Sure. The other goal is ultimately we've always wanted television of some kind. Nice. I have a degree in radio, television production, and I everything I learned was obsolete because it was still actual film and tape back then. But it's still the theory still apply, and I want to do professional wrestling on TV. That's one of my ultimate goals. Same thing for Dr. Zirconium. So that's something we both have been striving to happen. That's long term. Short term, I know there's a lot of things we want to do. We've recently just did the Monmouth County Fair for 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did 4 days of the week. We did 3 2-match events, and then the Saturday we did 4 2-match events.
Nice.
And it was for all 5 days, and we had probably, I think it was over 2,500 people total.
That's
two of those days got rain problems, where the first event was canceled because of rain, and the rest of the day was raining outside, so we didn't get nearly as big as people attended the fair. And then the other day it would look like it was going to rain the entire day. We're expecting rain from the beginning. And the fact that it didn't was great because we were able to get Sunday's events out, but it also limited the amount of people that were there. But like I said, there's about 2,500 plus people there over those 5 days that came to hang out and watch the professional wrestling. And there was it's great, but there was also about 90,000, I think it was 94,000 people over the 5 days total at the Mama State Fair. So our next year goal is to get a much higher percentage of that audience to come watch Dog Pro Wrestling.
Sure.
But we're going to do so. You know, we've learned a lot of things, and we're going to make it even bigger and better. So next time, plus we're going to try to always have it right after next year on the pig races, because they put the little piggy races right next to us.
Yeah.
And when we ran after them, we were a little bit larger on the crowd. So we're going to make sure to always try to arrange it next year. So the pig events we go first, and then the Dog Pro Wrestling, so we can get some of that crowd leak over. And if I would have known pigs were going to be such draws, and Dr. Jacoby would have known pigs were such draws, we definitely would have had Daredevil Dave Dahl on the card.
There you go.
Oh, jeez.
Do you know about Daredevil Dave Dahl?
I can't say that I do. I feel like I should know something about him based on everything you've been saying.
If COVID-19 was a person, it would be Daredevil Dave Dahl.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
Imagine 15 pounds, or I'm sorry, 50 pounds, no, 500 pounds of monkey crap in a 15-pound orange and black trash bag. That's what he kind of looks like inside the ring.
Wow. Jeez, man.
Yeah.
All right.
You are.
He must have like naked pictures of Dr. Zirconium or something to keep getting booked, because he's just absolutely horrible. But the fans absolutely enjoy watching him get beat up.
Well, there
They
you go.
love watching him get beat up.
It all
He
works
opens
out.
up his mouth, and they just want somebody to stick their fist down it.
Mhm.
Whenever we do polls about, like, you know, we get decent, you know, reactions to them. But whenever we do a Daredevil Dave Dahl poll, say, who do you want Dave Dahl to get beat up by today? It's always the most active poll, and it's usually like everybody.
Right.
Everybody.
As long as
Wow.
he gets beat up, they want him
All
all to
the
beat
above.
up Dave
Yeah.
Dahl. You know,
Oh,
so
that's-
he's a very unlikable person.
Gotcha.
A very, very unlikable person.
I mean,
People-
I don't think I've ever heard anybody talk about anybody like that on here before. Just
Yeah.
man, not a redeeming quality in sight.
No, not at all.
Oh,
Except for him,
boy.
except for the fact that people pay to watch him get his butt kicked. That's his
Yeah,
only
right.
redeeming quality.
Right.
You know, when you got something good, you go with it. You know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if he fell in a wood chipper, I'd feel bad for the wood chipper.
Oh no.
Wow. All right. Well, on that cheery note, it is Sean's favorite part. His favorite part of the show. His favorite time. Sean, it is time for the final question of the interview.
Woo.
So regain your composure there and take it away.
All right. Well, for you, Jaden, what does pro wrestling mean to you personally, and what is the significance that it has had on your life?
Well, I've been watching professional wrestling since I was still in diapers, probably even before that. I've been a fan of professional wrestling. I've always wanted to be a part of professional wrestling. I didn't care. I was a small guy. That was my problem. I graduated high school at around 119 pounds. It took me years to get to 140. At my physical peak, I was about 160, soaking wet with a pocket full of rocks. It wasn't until I broke my neck that I got to really big. But wrestling is an abusive relationship that's always going to be there for me, even if it is toxic. But I love professional wrestling. It's something that when I am down, when things aren't working well, when I'm having a bad day, when things aren't going right in my life, there's always pro wrestling. And that's something that you need to. It allows me to escape from whatever's bothering me and just enjoy the action, the intensity, the rivalries, the personal grudges. It really helps me enjoy everything that and just forget about what's out there. So if it wasn't for professional wrestling, I don't know where I would be mentally. Again, though, it's also, as much as it helps me mentally positively, if anybody involved in professional wrestling, like seriously involved in professional wrestling, knows this too, it's also very mentally detrimental.
Right.
But it's your first love. It always will be your first love. And it's kind of like the Tammy Stitch, where to Chris Candido, no matter how much it does horrible for you, you're always going to come back and love it. You know, and that's unfortunately and fortunately what professional wrestling is. But for a lot of people, it's their way, their escape, their ability to connect to their family, the ability to connect to their loved ones, the ability to see real life superheroes do remarkable things. It is a lot to a lot of people, and it's all of that to me also. So that's why professional wrestling is such an important sport, not a not sports entertainment, but a sport, not a business. It's
Right.
an important sport, but because it allows so much interaction between fans and friends and family and even enemies. I had a boss who I didn't like until I found out he liked pro wrestling, and all of a sudden he went from being a complete dick to a really awesome dude.
There
You
you
know,
go.
Yeah.
so that's what pro wrestling can do. It really can just make a difference in somebody's life in such a fundamental way. At worst case scenario, it's like the Circus Maximus in Rome. It's a distraction to keep us not paying attention to everything that's going wrong in our life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Beautifully put, my friend. Beautifully put. All right. Well, amazing getting to learn a little bit about Dog and everything that you guys are doing. And we're about to switch over here to our main event top 5. And we're going to learn even a little bit more about Dog during this top 5. Sean, what are we talking about today?
Once again, we are highlighting Jaden's top 5 wrestlers currently in the Dog promotion.
Now, I just want to say, but before Jaden gets started here, get your pen and paper out, get ready, take notes.
Yes.
These are people that you want to invest some time in, as well as investing some time in Dog. So with that, Jaden, take it away.
All right, before I get to the top 5, I just want to make sure my absolute bottom choice is Daredevil Dave Dahl.
Okay, I figured
He's
that was
dead
on there.
last.
Okay.
Very dead last, okay?
Yeah, he's like the dishonorable mention.
Right.
Yes. Now, I'm going to choose people currently in Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators because I want people to be familiar with what we're currently putting out there.
Absolutely.
All
So I'm
right.
going to put out the
Awesome.
people that I really enjoy watching.
Yes.
I'm going to start with number 5. Somebody who started off as just somebody who came to help out with the ring, got booked because they needed an opponent, and was impressive enough that he was brought back occasionally and is now one of the big factors, I think, to Dog, and one of the people that people need to pay attention to, and that's Dylan Mesh.
Oh, Dylan Mesh. We
that is
love
unbelievable.
Dylan Mesh. Dylan Mesh.
Listen.
The upstanding Dylan Mesh is just a phenomenal talent.
I can't say enough good things about him. Every time we see him, every time, you want to talk about a guy that is committed to what he does. Unbelievable.
Yes. Very good. Again, he started off as a guy who was just helping out. Not a lot of personality initially. He was very white bread. Not even white toast, white bread.
Yeah.
But that has come out along. His body's improved. His wrestling's improved. I told him to his face how much he's made of strides. And now I think people really need to focus on him. To give him an example how talented he is, he carried that fat, low Daredevil Dave Dahl to the Dog Tag Team Championship and carried that big, huge, massive marshmallow to all these matches to be able to put on such a great performance and carry that albatross around his neck, that giant chain that's holding him down, and still be able to succeed that he did. So that should tell you how incredibly talented that man is right there. And his back also must really be hurting him right now for carrying basically somebody that's the size of the Death Star.
Just a little bit ago, we were talking about long-term and short-term goals. And my short-term goal is to get you to tell us by the end of the episode how you really feel about Daredevil Dave Dahl. Because I don't think you.
I won't hold anything back next time because I've been kind of, believe it or not, I've been kind of editing myself and keeping myself censored a little bit.
Okay,
good.
All right.
So if you really want me to, this won't be monetized for sure.
No, listen.
I might beat the Danny Cage record.
The next episode of Opinion City After Dark, we'll make sure that we invite you on to talk about your good friend Dave Dahl. All right.
Good. More like Mortal Enemy.
There you go.
Sure.
All right, so that's number 5, Dylan Mesh. Make sure you go out of the way to find him. He's going to be wrestling on some of our next 3 events too. So if you want to check it out,
very cool.
If it's, especially the one that's the last of the 3 events, you want to come see him because he's really, really good. He's improved tremendously, and he needs to be rewarded for how much he's progressed in his business. All right,
Amen
so
to
that's number 5. Number 4 right now is the Dog Tag Team Champions Primal Fear.
Ooh,
I know it's kind of cheating because it's 2 of them.
Ooh.
Yes, no, that's
no,
not cheating.
I'm fully okay with
we count teams too. That absolutely works. Absolutely works.
So yeah, Primal Fear beat Daredevil Dave Dahl and Dylan Mesh, and to show how strong Gabe is, he lifted that big load bound to pick him up to do a move to him, and didn't fall through the ring or end up in the center of the earth or anything. But They are the dog tag team champions. They've been in and out of dog for a long time. They've wrestled for us, throughout the years, and they finally got their shot at the dog championship, where they were able to come out victorious. And they recently defended the dog tag team championship twice at the Monmouth Fair.
Yeah.
First against the tag team called the Liberty Bros of Ty Thomas and Adam Chandler.
Yes.
And then they also defeated the tag team of the Shot Callers. It's a real popular independent tag team. Is really starting to make a name for themselves right now.
Yeah.
So they defended twice that, and they've been very successful since they've been dog tag team champions, and they're going to continue to be so. A lot of independent wrestling companies rank them as the top team. A lot of podcasts rank them. When they do rankings for wrestlers of tag teams, they're often number one for them.
Absolutely.
And there's a reason, former Ring of Honor. And then if you add in their third member, Adrian Soriano, then I'm going to see a little bit because that's 3 for the price of 1. He's
That's
very
all right.
talented in the ring, and he's going to be working for Dog now that he's back from injury. So you're going to see a lot of talented, charismatic wrestlers. The girls love them. And
those two together they just have such good chemistry together in the ring, out of the ring. They are definitely a highlight for sure.
It's the truth. And if you're going to come see Dog, you're going to see them bring everything they can into the action and give you the best match they could possibly do. They're a little more high flying than typical in Dog, but in Dog they wrestle a lot smarter too. So they have the ability to wrestle, and a lot of people who haven't seen that get to come to a Dog event, and you can see the true hybrid style of old school professional wrestling with new school action and new school athletics.
Yeah,
well,
I can example of that.
I can personally vouch for them. I live about 10 minutes down the road from where PPW wrestles in Pennsylvania, and they've been mainstays there for a while, and they're worth every minute of your trip to go see them.
Yes.
Not only that, but apparently Adrian Soriano got to meet Cardi B yesterday in New Jersey.
Oh,
that's incredible.
Listen, if that's a highlight for him, sure. Her opening to SummerSlam was a low light for me.
Yes,
but that's okay.
That's okay.
She tried very hard and failed just as hard.
Yes, that's kind of like describes Daredevil Dave Dahl's wrestling style.
I had a feeling that was coming.
I knew that was coming. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3.
Okay.
Number 3, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Champion Valerie Verman.
Yeah, another great pick. Another great pick.
Yeah,
she's so talented and so good at being a bitch.
Yes, I mean she
We've seen that firsthand. Yes,
when you talk about a character, oh man, she is the personification of a character.
Oh. No, she's a character. She's the personification of her. She is just nasty. She is the mean girl, the princess of pretty, she calls herself.
Yep.
And I guess maybe I'll even cheat a little bit and throw in Samwell, her boyfriend.
Yes.
They're kind of a package pair too.
Yes.
Yeah, but she is a World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Champion. She's defended that championship. She defeated Clara Carez to win the vacant championship. She's defended against Notorious Mimi.
Yes.
Against Zoe Stark. Against Stevie Brooks.
Again, mainstays of East Coast wrestling as far as women go. Like these are people that you see everywhere.
Yeah.
She also recently defeated Gabby Gilbert at the Monmouth State Fair. So she's been in there. She's got matches coming up too at the different events, and I only know one of them for sure. But I know she's going to be scheduled again, depending if she's still champion at the time, to defend those World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Championship at the next 3 events.
Nice.
And here's what I want you to do. I want you to get some homework, and you probably already know, but look up 1986 Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and Missy Hyatt.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Valerie Verman is that Missy Hyatt, except she wrestles in the ring. Doesn't catfight.
Gotcha.
Love it.
Gotcha. Love it.
That Missy Hyatt was money before WCW ruined her.
Right.
And that right there was a big money drawing persona. And Valerie Verman has that naturally.
Amazing.
Yes. So that's Valerie Verman and Samwell again, I'm going to cheat a little bit in my little because they're two peas in a pod. I'm
It's
going to cheat
your
a little
list,
bit, and that's
man.
my three options.
It's your list.
Yeah, yeah, we're all for it.
All right, number 2 is WWGP champion David Goldie.
That's right. That's right. Goldie is, again, a highlight for us. We have had him on the show as well. Learned a wealth of knowledge from him. He's been at the Monster Factory as well, where he's trained there too. I'm shocked that he hasn't been on a major show already as a talent. Like
Other
in the
than-
ring, wrestling, like, yes, he has been like extras and that's amazing, but I'm more shocked that he has not been in the ring on a major show like that.
Yes, and that's why he is the World Wrestling Grand Prix champion. He won that title over Chris Steeler, ending the Chris Steeler's well over year reign
Wow.
as champion. I think it was it was almost it was a long reign. I don't remember exactly how long, but he held that championship for a long time. Defended it against this big guy called Pat Sawyer, who is he's a Native American. He's 6'8", 300 pounds,
Wow.
big boy. And,
Big
and
dude.
Goldie's not short. He's a tall man, but a lot of wrestlers he wrestled against, they've been much bigger than he was. So he's wrestled against him. He defended against Donovan Dijak.
Yes.
He defended against Nick Camarado,
Yes.
AEW superstar, former Monster Factory. He's defended against Dylan Mesh recently again at the Monmouth events. He's also defended against the guy who won a contenders match to get the shot in Dylan and Connor the Flag Boy. Not necessarily a big name, but he earned a shot at the Monmouth Fair and he got it against David Goldie. Defended twice in the same night against two wrestlers that are very diabolical. So that was very good. Has matches coming up against some really talented wrestlers. Just so good. He was the guy, if you want to look up viral clips, he took the best Crossroads ever by Cody Rhodes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, he did.
And a proof that nobody really watches AEW, he wrestled with Ray Jazz as his tag team partner. And he had another viral clip that nobody paid attention to because nobody watches AEW that I want you to go look out for. So it was him and Ray Jazz as a tag team. And he took another bump that was out of this world. But again, nobody talks about it because nobody's seen it because it's happening in a black hole, like the Witness Protection Program. But he's been in there against some of the top wrestlers. He's so incredibly talented. Featured on the Monster Factory documentary that was on Apple TV. New Japan Strong. We're going down to California to do that. I can't say, but I know he's going to be on another smaller television show coming up soon for a wrestling promotion that's running out of New York. Again, I'm not supposed to know this, so I'm not going to say anything about it.
Nope.
But
I didn't hear anything. I missed that part of the show.
If you happen to be in New York in October, I think it is, make sure you go check it out.
Got it.
Just so good in the ring, and he's so talented. I remember when I actually known him when he was a skinny kid. Now he's like got some good size to him. He's got some good mass to him. He's been working out, working hard. I remember he was a skinny kid who couldn't stop smiling at everything.
Yeah.
But now when he smiles, he has this smirk, like this smug smile, like this smug smirk.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Well, he's very talented. Fans of Dog love him. He's your World Wrestling Grand Prix champion. He's been defending that championship all around and against some of the top wrestlers out there. Luckily, he's never defended against Daredevil Dave Dog because then I couldn't make that statement.
Yeah. Well. All right. Listen.
Let that be the theme of the show.
You'll never miss a chance to cut that guy down.
Well, he's got so much to cut that I could be hacking with 3 machetes at the same time, and I wouldn't be able to get just a little single layer of his blubberness.
Right.
The Japanese would completely cut out whaling if they could just get some of the blubber from him.
Wow, man.
But yes,
all right.
David Goldie's my second favorite wrestler in Dog.
All right. Well, that brings us to your number one.
Number one, baby.
Number one, he's one of the longest tenured wrestlers in Dog. I've known him. I've managed him in the past. I've known him since he was very young in the business. Trained by King Kong Bundy. That's Vinny the Fixer.
Yeah, all right.
The Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion. He's a 2-time former Dog Tag Team champion. He's held the Mawa Championship. He's held the Mawa Tag Team Championship. He's had a lot of gold. He's now currently the Dog champion. Has defended that championship 6 times since April. and has 3 defenses coming up again, assuming he's still champion in any one of those defenses.
Sure.
He is an old school professional wrestler, nothing fancy, just comes out there and wrestles and hits you and punches you and brawls with you and out wrestles you. And he could also pull out a pair of brass knuckles like the best of them. So there's a reason he's so good, and there's a reason he's champion and why he's held so much gold in Dog and other promotions. Former 2-time Jersey State champion. He's the best kept secret in New Jersey independents. He's much older than a lot of wrestlers, so a lot of people don't discredit him because of his age, but he's so good in the ring. He's so smart, and he is one of the major reasons the Dogs has the success that we do. So I want to make sure that Vinny the Fixer gets credit, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators heavyweight champion.
Amazing.
Listen, if you are listening to this show right now and you have heard that top 5, how could you not immediately run out and go see a Dog show? I mean, just on that top 5 alone, and there's even more.
Yeah, that's a Dog event. Remember, their Dog doesn't run shows. Other wrestling companies run shows.
Events.
Dog
right.
events.
Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiator runs events.
That's right.
And again, if you fans want to know the difference, make sure you come to a Dog event and find out for yourself in person.
That's right.
Amazing. All right. Well, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk some upcoming events with Jaden from Dog. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen our interview with Manny Lemons from last week, Sean Parmesan and our good friend I Hate Vonnie stepped in as I was out doing my kingly duties. They did a phenomenal job interviewing Manny Lemons. I will tell you, I did not know a ton about Manny Lemons before that interview, but listening to him talk, his passion for wrestling, his passion for Utah wrestling, and his passion for making everything around him better. Huge fan of his.
Yes.
Amazing interview. So go and check that out. Check out the socials this week. We'll be making a special announcement about next week's guest.
Yeah.
But in 2 weeks, we will be talking to Handsome Max Zero. We are super excited for that interview. And then the following week, we are going to be talking to
the returning.
Yes, he
Big
just made
Alex.
his return at Power Pro Lucha. So we are super excited to get him on the show. And then last week of August, our rescheduled interview.
We're finally doing it.
We're finally doing it. It was supposed to happen before, and things in life happen. We understand that, but we are finally going to be talking to Opinion City Podcast superfan, follower of the socials, watcher of the channel, listener of the podcast, our good friend and super fan, the Spiteful Brute, Harleen Lopez, who we love seeing at live events. We're finally getting her on the show to talk about how much of a fan of ours she is. So that brings us
putting yourself over, right? Better than putting yourself over is to have somebody else do it for you.
Right.
Listen, if you want to know the truth, the only reason I'm doing any of this is to put myself over. Like, I know how it works, brother. I'll show you something, brother. No, all right. So moving on.
Doesn't work for me, brother. No.
That doesn't work for me, brother. He's not ready. He's not ready, brother.
No, brother. If life gives you Manny Lemons, go get some vodka and you can have a party.
There you
go. Oh, I love
it.
Wow. Okay. Well, that brings us to Dog, and tell us about the events that you have coming up with Dog.
Well, Dog's coming up. Our first one coming up is Saturday night, August 30th at the Chamberlain Student Center in Rowan University. It is called Battle of the Profs. Dog did not name it. So Just want to make sure they're out there. Props
Gotcha.
is the mascot of Rowan University.
Okay.
It's exclusive to the freshmen coming to Rowan University this year.
Oh.
The freshman
Wow.
class comes in about a week early to get acclimated to the school, and then they do a whole series of special events. They started doing that to keep them from going out and drinking and destroying the town of Glassboro.
Sure.
So they
Sure.
have put on special events to keep them entertained. The pinnacle of that is Dog Pro Wrestling. Now, we do once a year, we run at Rowan University for Rossmania. Again, Dog didn't name that.
Nice.
But Rowan After Hours, which is where the Raw comes from, puts on the events to keep these kids from going out and drinking. So they put on the
Very
biggest
cool.
drinking night of the day to try to give
Very
them something
smart.
else to do.
Yeah.
So that's, again, it's a private event for exclusively for the students, for the freshmen of Rowan University on the 30th. And then the one we do annually is going to be for all students of Rowan University. So all you have to do is just sign up to Rowan University, pick out your major, and then you get to see Dog Pro Wrestling this year twice,
Brilliant.
and hopefully continually twice a year for free. It's
Awesome.
worth it. Definitely worth the debt and the student loans to
Right, of course.
pick out Dog twice a year for free.
Of course.
Absolutely. Oh,
The main event already scheduled is the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship, as Rowan alumni David Goldie takes on Rhett Titus.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
wow,
All
okay.
right.
That is
right.
exciting.
Yes, so that match is going to be really, really good. It's another challenge for Goldie, a really tough challenge. Rhett
Mhm.
Titus versus David Goldie for the World Wrestling Grand Prix Championship at David Goldie's alma mater, Rowan University.
Amazing.
On top of that, Valerie Verman will be defending the World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Championship against Christina Marie.
Ah, yes.
The
Very cool.
very first women's match ever at Rowan University was Christina Marie versus Valerie Verman, and Christina Marie came out victorious.
Nice.
It's the only blemish on Valerie Verman's record
Mm-hmm.
in Dog.
Mhm.
And so she's looking to avenge that. And so there's going to be for the World Wrestling Grand Prix Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm.
Can Christina Marie once again defeat Valerie Verman and become the new champion? Who knows? Make sure you go sign up 2 classes at Rowan University and pay your tuition and get your student loans and put yourself in debt.
Yep.
So you can
Yeah.
check this out.
Yeah.
It's going to be worth it. Definitely going to be
Brilliant.
worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
That's that. Yeah. If
Mhm.
every college had a program like that, everyone would go to college.
Yeah, right.
And we're working on that. Dog is the only wrestling promotion that's NACA certified, NACA.
Wow.
NACA actually provides entertainment for colleges, universities, and trade schools.
Mhm.
So if you're looking for a band or a magician or a balloon artist or anything to try to bring entertainment
Mhm.
to your college, university, or trade school, that's what NACA is for. We are the only one certified by NACA.
That's
So
crazy.
if you're going, I know Dr. Zakunim sends out these emails to these different universities around trying to get involved, and some of them have been fruitful. We've had Rowan University before. We've had another one I'm going to mention soon before, but I know there's talks with bringing it to different universities, colleges in New Jersey and possibly Pennsylvania, Delaware, New York, and anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic area that wants to have the #1 wrestling promotion in all colleges, Dangerous
That's
Adrenaline
incredible.
Wrestling Gladiators.
Wow.
Hell
That's
yeah.
incredible. That's awesome.
Other people scheduled is the Dog Champion Vinny the Fixer, the Dog Tag Team Champions Primal Fear,
Mhm.
Adrian Soriano, and former Rowan alumni and former AEW superstar Nick Camarado will be there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's again August 30th at the Chamberlain Student Center, the Pit and the Chamberlain Student Center at Rowan University.
Awesome.
And then after that, we are working with MAWA. I believe September 9th is the event. The MAWA event will be hosting a dog championship match as Vinny the Fixer defends against Connor the Flag Boy.
Okay.
He got to pick his challengers, but he's very good negotiating his contracts. And since he has pull in MAWA, he was able to pick his opponent. He picked Connor the Flag Boy.
Right.
And again, not the most known wrestler, very underrated, and eventually you'll be hearing about him, I'm sure. Fortunately, he's the flag boy for Daredevil Dave Dahl, so he has that scum that it's attached to him.
Right.
But he's going to be something in this business if he just gets out of his own head and listens and keeps training hard and does what he needs to do. You'll be hearing that name. His real name's Connor Schaefer. So that's what you'll probably know him as if you see that name out there.
Mhm.
But in Dog, he's just known as Connor the Flag Boy because he's Dave Dahl's little biatch.
Sure.
All right.
But he's
Yeah.
going to be. Vinny picked him out to defend against, so that's going to be the match
Nice.
coming up in Mawa. Also, there we have the Rowan College of Burlington County. That's associated with Rowan University. It's a different college, though. It's a college associated with it. They have like 5 different colleges associated with them.
Mhm.
We'll be back there on Thursday afternoon, August 9th. Currently scheduled, there's going to be World Wrestling Grand Prix champion David Goldie, again, assuming he's still champion, dog champion Vinny the Fixer, assuming he's still champion, Valerie Verman for the World Wrestling Grand Prix women's champion, assuming she's still champion, Primal Fear, assuming they're still champions. Dylan Mesh is on this card. In fact, he's on every card we're talking about.
Yeah.
And Falaba was
Baba.
just recently.
Wow.
Yeah.
He'll be part of the event.
Very cool.
So they're going to check that out. A great professional wrestling action. I won't stay to sneak on campus to watch it because it may be outdoors depending if the weather's nice. But if the weather's nice and it's outdoors, I'm not saying you should sneak on campus to check it out, but maybe you might want to. But I'm not saying, definitely not saying you should do that.
No,
No, never.
No, never.
Yeah.
No.
So hopefully the weather's good and we'll be outside because it's such a neat looking, because we're in between some of the big buildings out there.
Right.
The last time we did it, we were one of the 2 major attractions of that day. They also had Moo the cow, who was an emotional support
Moo the cow. Yes.
Yes. Wait, an emotional support. This is not a person in a cow costume. This is a real cow.
That's a real cow. Yeah.
Wow.
Write that down, Ralph.
This
Write
was
that
Rowan,
down.
This was Rowan College, you said?
Rowan College of Burlington County.
Write
Moo
that
the
down.
cow, the emotional support cow. He's really moving.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is. Wow. Oh boy.
So Moo has been Moo's got horns. I don't know if Moo's a guy or a girl. So I guess he's a girl because Moo the cow is a girl's name. But Moo was there, and Daredevil Dave Dahl was there because he was still the largest creature around the area.
Of course. Yep.
Right.
But he wasn't getting near the attention that Moo was, and he was getting real jealous about
No.
that.
Well, because
Right.
nobody's interested in an emotional support walrus.
No. Or water buffalo or manatee or
Yeah. No, manatee. That's a good one.
That's a good one. Right.
Yeah.
that's
It's
kind
a
of what he
land
looks like.
manatee.
He looks like an orange and black manatee.
Oh boy.
He's like if Gritty took a crap, that
Oh.
would be Daredevil Dave Dahl.
Wow.
By the way,
Man,
did you know Gritty's really from Kensington?
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, look at the eyes if you couldn't tell. He's a Kensington meth muppet.
Oh, see, there you go. Now, see, I know that's funny because I used to stay at an Airbnb down the block in Kensington from the train station that they shut down because of all the meth deaths.
Yes.
And it was
Yes.
it was a nice place to stay inside. It was an absolute dump outside, but I always got parking.
Yeah.
So
That's always a good thing. You always got
It's always-
parking. Who cares?
Yeah.
just park,
Who
I
cares
just
if
park
your
in the
tires would
garbage
end up
pile.
missing?
Right.
Yeah, no, I just
Right.
parked
Would
in the
end up
garbage
missing,
pile.
Right, whatever.
Yeah.
No, I pile up the garbage around the car and then nobody knows the car's there.
Yeah. See, if Pennsylvania was a person, Kensington would be where the animal would go.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
And Gritty, if you look at the eyes, he's definitely on something.
Oh, that's yes.
Yes.
I think that's
Yeah.
the whole point. He has to be on something to
Yeah. But anyway, there's going to be a lot of great wrestling action.
Mhm.
And then after that, on Saturday night, October 18th, at
There
the
we go.
Sacred Heart Church, located at 103 4th Street in beautiful, historic Riverton, New Jersey,
That's right.
Dog Pro Wrestling will be coming back for Wrath of the Champions.
Woo.
Already scheduled is the son of the legendary living legend Larry Zbyszko. Timothy Zbyszko will be there in
Ooh.
action. Plus, the Dog Championship will be on the line. The Dog Tag Team Championship will be on the line. And both World Wrestling Grand Prix Championships will be on the line. So you get to see the top wrestlers of Dog and the champions of WWGP. And Daredevil Dave Dahl will be there too.
Yes.
well, you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
you gotta let him have something, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's one of the
Incredible.
things is whenever we want to get rid of the garbage, we just let Dave Dahl loose. He eats it all up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So that way we don't
well,
have to take it out to the dumpster.
Right.
makes
Right.
a lot of sense. I get you. Makes
He's
lot
a
of
real
sense.
cannibal because garbage eating garbage, but
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
hey, you know. Wow. All right. Well, that's quite a lot you've got going on there. Very interesting stuff. I have a nephew who graduated from Rowan University, and yeah, I don't know if they still have the food trucks there at night in the parking lot, but we ate at the food trucks one time, and I highly recommend Rowan University to anybody out there if you're looking for a good sandwich. But
They have
I'm sure they do
wrestling.
they have Dog Pro Wrestling too. Listen,
Yeah, that's it. I mean, come on.
good sandwiches, good wrestling. Like you can't that no other college probably has that.
Right.
Well, there are other colleges that have Dog Pro Wrestling, like obviously Rowan College of Burlington County. We also do events at the Monmouth University.
Okay.
Ah.
But I
Yeah, we
cannot
had one
vouch
of the-
for their sandwiches. So
No, I can't vouch for their sandwiches.
we'll have to,
In
we'll have
fact,
to
I don't
check
think-
that out.
I don't think the Burlington County one has sandwiches at all.
Oh
well,
boy.
well, there you go.
It's a bring your own sandwich event.
Right.
Just keep it away
BYOS.
from Daredevil Dave Dahl. He'll bite your fingers off to try to get to it.
Right.
Listen, I'm not going anywhere near him with anything.
No.
Nope.
Do you remember this story about when Triple H took on Henry Godwin in the pig pen match or the hog pen
Mhm.
match or whatever it
Sure,
was?
Sure.
And the farmer said, "Keep your fingers tucked in because the pigs will sometimes go a little crazy and bite your fingers off."
Yeah.
That's Daredevil Dave Dahl.
All right. He's a human pig pen match.
There you go.
All right.
Especially
Well,
when it's full of all the pig stuff in there.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, this has been a tremendous time learning about your hatred for Dave Dahl and learning a little bit about Dog as well.
See, I only hate him because I know him. If somebody wants to ask me, does everybody hate Dave Dahl? I'm like, no, not everybody hates Dave Dahl because not everybody's met him yet.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Once you meet him, you'd understand.
Well, I hope I don't have that pleasure, but okay. All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Listen, if
He's
you
left-
have the, go ahead.
He's less popular than herpes.
Mm.
Wow, that's
Well, this show wasn't canceled
jeez.
already.
Listen, it's been a great run. What a way to go out, Dave Dahl. Thank you for
First
being
and
such
last,
stand-up
first and
human
last,
being.
first and last indie highlight, right?
Right.
Well,
that's it.
listen,
Throw it out the window.
All right. Well, I'll
You can
joke-
highlight Dave Dahl. You just need to get one of the Hubble telescopes to get a shot.
yeah, we got to do he'll have to be the whole screen. I don't know. But
God.
anyway, in all seriousness, it has been great learning about Dog. It's amazing everything you guys have going on, the amount of talent you have there, and honestly, your philosophy for the business and the way you look at handling events and fan interaction. It's what independent wrestling should be. So this has been a real pleasure for us having you on today and getting to learn a little bit more about what you guys do, and definitely, looking forward to your continued success in the future.
Yes.
We will be continuing to follow Dog as well. We are super excited to now have that as a part of the Opinion City family. You are more than welcome here anytime you want to come on and talk about Dog or put down Dave Dahl. Either one, you're more than welcome.
If there's one, there's usually another. So
Yeah.
if I'm putting down Dave Dahl, I'm talking about Dog, and if I'm talking about Dog, I'm putting down
Right.
Dave Dahl.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. Right.
It goes hand in hand.
Unfortunately, we can't find a vet that really put him down, but that's a different story.
That's a different story. Well, all right.
Mhm.
Well, yes. So on that note, we definitely appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on. We have all the links in the description down below where you can check out Dog online, their YouTube, their socials, their website, all that good stuff. So make sure that you are following Dog, and if you have the opportunity, get out and see one of their shows.
Events.
I'm sorry.
Events.
Yes.
Events.
Go see a Dog event.
Yes.
I'm
Mhm.
so used to calling them shows, but now listen, we have Dog events.
Dog
So
events.
go see a Dog event when you have the opportunity. It sounds absolutely amazing, and I am sure I can guarantee you will have a good time.
Yes.
Yes. Even if you do have to watch Dave Dahl wrestle, the rest of it's going to be
Listen, maybe you can get a refund on your ticket if you complain enough about having to watch that. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, you will enjoy watching him get his butt kicked because that's obviously the highlight.
There you have it.
Of course. Of course.
There you
That's
have
a
it.
lot of butt to kick.
Yes,
Right.
it could take a while. It might be a long show, so pack a lunch.
Events.
Events.
Man, you know what? All right. On that note, this event is just about over. So on that note, again, we thank you for your time today, guys.
Thank
Everybody,
you.
make sure you're following Dog out there. Go see them when you can.
And don't try to follow me. I don't have any socials. Just follow Dog instead.
Just
There you go.
follow Dog.
Just follow Dog.
There you go.
Yes.
All right. Well, for our representative today from Dog, Jaden, who has been an absolute pleasure to talk to. For Parmesan, I am King Ralph. That's going to do it for this episode of the Opinion City podcast. Remember, kindness is free, so be kind to each other. God bless each and every one of you, and we will see you next time.
Well, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a ball making it.